Hi folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. You might realise we're not in my office today, we're not in the studio, we are actually in my dining room. So I didn't quite have enough space in my office to do this, and Andrew's very upset with me that I have been calling the dining room the costume room for a week or so. But today we are going to be, well, for you it's going to be a short video, for me it's going to be several days. We're going to be making my Halloween costume for this year and Andrew's Halloween costume for this year. So anyone that knows us knows that we are both massive Disney fans. On top of that, I'm also a massive fan of Bette Midler, and one of my favourite movies of all time is Hocus Pocus. So yes, this year I will be dressing as none other than Winifred Sanderson herself, and Andrew will be Billy Butcherson, her boyfriend, her long-suffering deceased zombie boyfriend. So what I thought I'd do now is quickly go through some of the items I've got for the costume and kind of go through my plan for it. Andrew's is pretty simple. I've already we've got a suit jacket for him, I've mudded it up and I've torn parts of it. I've got to add some cuffs to it, and a couple of other details and kind of general dirt and grime. So that's not too bad. His trousers are plain black trousers that I need to crop and add a band to and a button. And then it's just a case of his makeup and wig, which is not too difficult at all. For Winifred, this is more drag, and drag is something that I haven't done for well over a decade, probably approaching 2 decades at this point. So it's a multi-part costume, it's lots of layers. First layer on Winifred Sanderson's costume is a purple underdress. So I actually have this here, which is my purple dress, and hopefully there'll be a video of me twirling around in it right now. Then over that, Winifred has a green dress, which is actually called a kirtle. It's a medieval style dress. Couldn't find a kirtle online, so I got something that I could modify. Both of these items were from Vinted, and this is a Modesty Dress, I believe it's called. It's got some details on it, and here's me twirling around in that. And then on top of that, Winifred has a very distinctive green velvet coat with long bell sleeves, gold painted details on it. So for that, unfortunately, I couldn't find anything that really matched that I could modify. So I have got loads of green crushed velvet. I've got a Simplicity, I think it's Simplicity coat pattern that I'm going to modify. So it's been a long time since I've sewn any items of clothing. So I'm going to, first thing, I'm going to roughly size out, I think, what I need from the pattern. I'm going to use some scrap fabric from an old curtain just to do the top part, because it's the neckline and the front that I'm kind of more worried about. And my shoulder width, obviously being a man, I've got quite wide shoulders. So once I think I've got that bit, the pattern ready, then I'll go ahead and cut the whole thing out of the green and stitch it all together into the coat, and then we can paint it and embellish it. I've got lots of other stuff as well. I've got sequins, I've got cord, I've got buttons and gems and all sorts. I've got earrings, I've got my wig, I've got teeth, I've got makeup. It's going the whole hog. First thing I want to start with are the shoes. So Winnie has some very iconic shoes, turned up toe, nice curly point, and a nice heel on them. So I have actually got these shoes, which I got recently from second-hand shop. They are two. It's one of the supermarkets in the UK do this brand. They're a size 8. They were £7 from a charity shop, and honestly very comfortable. I mean, I would wear high heel shoes all the time if I could, and I've been wearing these around the house and you know, doing housework and all sorts in them, so these are brilliant. But my idea is these are fabric, so I'm going to take some other black fabric that I have and sew a kind of 3D curl for the front of the toe that comes over, and then using some black cord and sequins and other things embellish these. So the first thing I need to do is to sew the cap essentially for the front of the toe, so that then I can stuff that and use some Fabri-Tac glue to stick it on. So I need to get started. Okay, so this is the kind of shape that I think I'm going for. I'm kind of really winging this. This is just polycotton, so it's non-stretch black fabric. Layered this up 4 times. I'm gonna cut this out, and you can see I give myself a little bit of seam allowance, and hopefully this should give us a nice pointed toe. But let's give it a try. Okay, so here are these turned out points. All I really need to do now, these are quite long, don't really need them this long, but I need to get some Fabri-Tac, attach them to the front of the shoes, stuff them as well so that they kind of stand up by themselves, and then we can get on to decorating. Okay, so here are the toes all on, a little bit of cord to hide the seam as well, and actually I think what these shoes need are sequins, and I don't have any black sequins, so I'm going to put these aside for now. Order some sequins from Amazon, and yeah, we'll come back to these later, but they're looking good. Okay, so now that the shoes are kind of, they've got their pointy toes, I've got their little bit of trim, and I've got black sequins on the way. I've just ordered them. So I'm going to tackle something a little bit bigger, and by bigger I mean oversized. This Modesty dress, getting this cut down. So what I essentially need to do is, let me find the front. Okay, so here I'm going to, from this neckline, cut this whole panel out the front. This dress is too wide this way anyway, and what this will do is it will bring in the dress so it's a little bit shorter, but it will also allow me to, down each side, sew some buttonholes so that I can do some gold thread going through. The sleeves are also too long, so they need cutting back and hemming, and the bottom of the dress also has this ribbon on. So I think, because this is, that was a plant, I'll pick that up in a second, but because this is double lined, where is it? Yes it is. So I think essentially I'm going to take the ribbon off and re-hem both parts of this once I've cleaned up the bromeliad that I've just knocked off. So come back to you in a minute. Plant has been saved, just to show you. There we go, there's a bromeliad. It was already wonky, that wasn't from knocking it off. So I've got my pinking shears. I'm gonna lay this dress out on the table, cut out the central panel, cut the sleeves shorter, cut the hem at the bottom, and I've got a lot of sewing to do. So here's a fun fact about me. I don't know how to use the buttonhole function on a sewing machine, and I used to teach textiles. So I've got to work that out as well. But I'm going to do all of this hemming first, then I will work out how to do buttonholes, then I will put the buttonholes in. So I'll come back to you once I've kind of cut a load of stuff up. Chaos, absolute chaos. Oh well. Okay, so we're actually in my music corner now, which is still in the dining room, but I've got a little bit more space here. So far I have cut off the sleeves. I will be keeping this ribbon because actually we've got some very sparkly gems here, and that saves me attaching sequins. I can use the gems instead. Have I got gold sequins? I think I've got gold sequins. I've got lots of sequins, just didn't have black. And then to show you, there we go, there's one sleeve. All I've done is just rolled and sewn. Of course I show you the messiest part. But there we go, just a nice little sewn sleeve cuff there, nice and neat on the inside. It's just rolled under so no loose edges. Right, next thing to do is the front. So I need to hem the whole bottom, so I think rather than cutting off an amount and then hemming round in a circle, it makes more sense to cut the panel out of the front first, and then roll and hem the bottom as one straight line, not joined at the end. Just makes more sense to me. So I'm going to lay this out, and I'm literally going to draw lines from, I think, here straight down, and just cut a whole panel out the front. But yeah, I'll be back in a minute. There we go, and just like magic, all cut. I just need to pin and sew this now down each side, and that should give me enough. So this is still closing quite nicely here, but actually once I've pinned it in a bit, we'll have enough room here to do our lacing. And looking at the skirt at the bottom, it's actually made of 2 bits of fabric. This netting, I don't think I will have to hem. Maybe I will, I'll have a look. But it's looking all right at the moment. This is longer than the skirt on the inside because of this piece of trim. Once this trim is gone, it's actually not dragging on the floor. It's the perfect length. So I'll have a look. I might hem it, I might not. I'll see how it goes. But first I need to pin and sew this front part. Okay, so we are back in my kitchen temporarily because it's the best space for kind of standing back. But I've done the sleeves, I've done the front, and I have hemmed the bottom. And this is what we have at the moment. It flows really nicely. Pick it up. So yeah, next stage for this, to turn this into a proper kirtle, is to do my buttonholes down the front. So there's a few ways I could have done this. I could have used rivets, I could have done some loops, but actually I think for me the buttonhole is probably the easiest way. I just need to learn how to do buttonholes, so I'm going to have a little bit of practice on that. Will come in handy because Andrew's costume also needs some buttonholes on the legs, so I'll get that done as well. But yeah, this is where I'm up to. It's currently 11 o'clock in the evening, so I'll be working for a little bit more, and then I'll probably pick this up again tomorrow. But let's see how much we can get done this evening. Okay, so I practiced a couple of buttonholes, changed the foot on the machine, got it all set up. First time ever. First one was meh, second one was a little bit better. So I thought, should I practice more? No, I'm just going to jump straight in. And I have made 6 buttonholes on this side, 6 buttonholes on this side. Are they the best things in the world? No. Will they keep the cord together? Possibly. I would call them adequate. So it's now close to midnight, I think, but I'm just going to quickly open up all of these holes because I've just done the stitching so far. I'm going to open them up, going to hang this until tomorrow, and tomorrow I will get cracking on whatever the next bit of the project is. Hello and welcome back. We are another day, another room. We're actually in one of our guest rooms at the moment, and I'll show you why. We have a nice clear floor in here, so that's why I'm using this space, because today I'm going to stop wobbling, I'm going to start attempting the jacket. So I'll show you the pattern that I've got. It is a McCall's pattern, so this is M6800. I've got it in size 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. I think the 14 will probably be okay for me. I've got plenty of fabric for this, but I don't want to be wasting fabric. So you can see this comes in various designs. I'm actually going to be doing design B, but with a modified collar. Something a little bit closer to this, but still open at the front. In order to do that, I need to kind of adjust the bodice part. So I'm going to basically use a vellum pen, which I love, was from Scrawlbox, a pair of scissors and some tracing paper. I'm going to trace out the pattern bits that I need, and then I'm going to use this old curtain, which is just a really nice plain fabric, cut out those pieces, pin them together, see what alterations I need to make, which then I can do to those pattern pieces, take it apart and kind of use those as my pieces when I actually start using the green crushed velvet. But yeah, that's why I'm in here, so I can lay things out on the floor. Got a nice big working space, don't have to worry about Tinkerbell or Buddy walking through and trampling over everything. Buddy is, you know, typical chocolate Labrador is a heffalump. He wants to get into everything, and he'll just lay on the paper. So I've got my cup of tea, I've got some time, I'm going to get cracking on this, and yeah, let's see where we end up. The room is a whole mess of little offcuts of tissue paper, but keep that out of the way. I do now have all 6 pieces for the coat, so that the bodice and the flare at the bottom. Can already tell I'm going to have to lengthen it. So essentially the whole coat wrapping around is 12 pieces. So what I need to do now is clear up this loose tissue paper and save any bits that I can. Then lay out the fabric that I've got, pin this to it, cut out 2 of each piece, then I can start pinning it together to see how the fit is. Okay, so these are all of the pieces cut out, all 12 of them. I'm kind of thinking to myself, I could pin it all together, but then it has a chance of coming loose, and it takes just as much time as doing a basting stitch. And do I just basting stitch it all together and get an accurate fit that way, and then come pin for the alterations? I'm gonna have to stitch it, aren't I? This is gonna take a while. Okay, I mean, it has to be done, so that's what I'm gonna do. Let me see, I'm going out this evening in a couple of hours. We'll see how much time I've got and how much I get done. So I'm going to go back down to the costume room / dining room and start pinning this and sewing this. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, so you can see I've been doing a little bit of sewing. I've got one seam the wrong way, but that's fine. This is just a mock-up. And actually, I'm very glad I did it. So if I just stand back, you can see this is the coat. It flows really nicely. I love it. However, it's a little bit too big, like this. So I can definitely take in some of these internal seams. I'm not lining it because it's just a costume piece. I'm going to take in quite a sizable hem down the front and a smaller one at the bottom. And also, not quite sure what happened. We seem to be missing a piece here. They should scoop and kind of meet up. So yeah, actually, I think this is going to work very well. I can make a few tweaks to the pattern, and then the rest I can tweak when I've actually kind of put it all together. And I'm wearing everything, but nice twirl, I like. Okay, so here's all the pattern pieces on the green velvet. I need to do a little bit of edit on that very far one over there to bring this side down and cut out, and then I can start stitching together. You can see I have a lot of green velvet. This is 6 meters. So I don't know where my stand is for my camera, so I'm just doing this freehand very quickly. But I've got all of my pieces cut out. I now just need to sit down at the sewing machine, unpin them all, and sew them all together. So it's going to take a while. It's currently, what is the time? It's 10:30 in the evening. I might get done before midnight, but I doubt it. I also today found a really good pattern for the sleeves on it, because I have a very kind of bell medieval sleeve. I know it has a name, which I think is French, and I can't remember. It might be on the screen here. But I have the pattern for those sleeves, and I have enough green velvet left over to make probably 8 sleeves. So I think I'm going to be fine there. Enough procrastinating. I just need to get on with this and get cracking. Oh, my black sequins also arrived today, so I might kind of bejazzle my shoes as well. But yeah, I have to get on with it now. Hello and welcome back to my kitchen at nearly 1 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I have been sewing. I'd forgotten just how difficult velvet can be to sew, because it's quite slippery and it's been a long time since I've used velvet. But the main jacket now is constructed, and actually I don't think I am going to need to line it at all. But if I just stand back, this is what we have. Flows really nicely. So I've got enough space here to be able to pull this in. I've got some clasps arriving tomorrow, so even once I've hemmed this at the front, I'll be able to do my little clasp in the front as well. So really looking forward to that. Much to a little rolled hem, because actually this is rolling in on itself, and if I pull it out it overlaps quite a lot, so I think we're going to be fine there. Still need to do the sleeves on this, which I've got bits of velvet absolutely everywhere. I'm very sparkly now, but I'm considering doing the sleeves as a separate piece, or attached. I'm not quite sure yet. I've got a pattern that I got from Etsy today just for the sleeves. It's like an elven dress, but that will be for tomorrow's construction. I still need to hem this as well down the bottom, but it's all looking really nice. Yeah, it's all coming together. Once I've got the sleeves, once I've done a collar as well, then I can start adding embellishments and painting and all of that kind of stuff. So I think I should head to bed, and next time you see me, hopefully I'll be a little bit more awake, and the stab marks on my fingers from the pins will have healed up. Time for another late night, so I got some pieces cut out while I was watching TV this evening for the sleeves and a couple of other bits. Yeah, it's already 11:15, but that's fine. I'll just sew through. It shouldn't take too long, hopefully. I just need to, the sleeves are just a couple of parts in construction. I just need to sew them together and sew them to the body. And my shoes have been sequined, you'll be pleased to hear, and they're all nice and dry now, so they catch the light very nicely. What else is there to do? Yeah, once this last bit of construction is done, it's then just on to painting and decorating, really. I've got some clasps for the front of the coat, and I still need to make book as well, which is very exciting. Hopefully, again, won't take very long, but I can do that from the office. Right now, though, sewing. Good morning. So I was up fairly late last night, so I had a couple of issues with my sewing machine, but they're all sorted now. This room is a mess. If I just show you the table down here, yeah, I need to clean this up because Andrew uses this room for work. And you might see in the background here, we've got a bit more work done. So there's now a collar, we've got some gold trim, and the buckle is done at the front, little kind of hook clasp. Sleeves are on, very nice. I've also left this open so that we can see this underneath and get a little bit of contrast in the fabrics. It's so difficult doing a costume when you're just doing kind of a couple of hours each day, when you've got time. Oh, the shoes down here as well. And it's sequined on the heel and on the front. Yeah, I would have loved to have had a whole day where I could just sit down and make this jacket, but you know, it is what it is. I've been at work and I've had to fit stuff around that, so I've done the best I can. So I sound really croaky. I've literally been up 10 minutes. I got up, had a shower, and that's it. I've got a shirt on and I'm getting ready for work. Next step on this is to paint on some symbols. So she's got some symbols down the front. The symbols are embellished with, the sleeves are embellished with symbols in gold paint, and there's some symbols on the back as well. So I'm going to get that done, and then that's all of the kind of construction done, and then I just have to embellish, really. I have tons of sequins in gold, green and purple. I'm just going to kind of bedazzle the whole thing, make it a little bit more drag. My wig is here. It is actually a Merida wig, which I'm going to use these hair buns, one on each side, to create Winnie's hairstyle. Also, quickly need to finish up Andrew's costume and his wig and find his makeup and stuff. This is the paint I'm going to be using, by the way. You can probably hear Andrew walking about upstairs. It's a Tulip's gold fabric paint, so I'm going to be using this for the symbols, and hopefully that'll blend in nicely with the other gold that's on there. Maybe look a little bit antique. But yeah, we are, the finishing line is in sight now. I just need to get these last little bits done. Once that's all done, it's just a case of kind of getting ready on the day, and I'll show you kind of what it looks like at the end. Hi everyone, so it's nearly midnight on the following day from the last time you saw me. I've been doing some painting on the jacket, which is drying. I've done both front and back. That's nearly done now. I think I just need to add some sequins to it. But I'm going to be working briefly on another project that I have. So Winifred is nothing without her ever faithful book, and I wanted to incorporate that into my costume. Sorry that you're kind of wobbling around. I'm holding you up at the moment. My stand's downstairs. I wanted to incorporate book into the costume, but I wanted to do it in a way that was functional. So I'm going to be taking this standard ring binder and turning this into a functional kind of clutch bag, essentially, based on book. So to do that, first thing that I need to do tonight is to take some cord and glue it down with some Fabri-Tac in certain patterns on the front to give that look of stitched together flesh. Once I've done that and that's all dry, then tomorrow I'm going to come in, PVA glue and tissue paper over the whole thing, paint it brown. Then I'm going to make some details out of polymer clay, stick them on. It all sounds very involved, but you've seen this kind of stuff from me 100 times before. You've seen me do polymer clay and PVA glue and paper and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to quickly rush through this, and I'm just going to go through and then hopefully show you the end result. But yeah, I had best get cracking because it's nearly midnight and I've got a lot to do. Hello and welcome to slightly more familiar surroundings. So we're in the office today. It's just coming up to midday on my day off. So it is D-Day today, and D obviously stands for drag. Drag day today. We're going out this evening, so I need to get the costume all completed. With that in mind, I have spent all morning sequining certain parts of the costume. You know, Winifred is quite a campy character anyway, so how can you make a character even more campy? Add sequins, of course. I styled the wig last night, so that might need a little bit of a spritz and a touch up today. I've got all of my makeup. I've not practiced any of my makeup, so I'm nervous about doing that because it's many years since I've done any kind of drag makeup. And even when I did do drag, I would get other people to do it because it's just easier. So last thing I need to do is finish book. So just to show you the progress I'm up to so far, here is book. So this is just a mixture of, well, it's an old file. I've taken the ring binder part out. This is tissue paper and some cord that's been stuck down, and then I painted it with burnt umber. Burnt umber first, then a black wash. Then over the top of that, a dry brush with some burnt sienna and white, just to bring out the high spots. All I need to do with this is to create a little bit of kind of a raised edge going around where the pages would be, so that I've now got a space inside to be able to stick a little pouch so that this can act as my clutch bag for this evening. Now I've got all of the details to go on the front, so we've got the eye and the ring to go here, snake, 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 maybe some fingers for the back edge if I get the chance, a claw and 2 more snakes. We've got 4 snakes in total. Oh, and another long snake. So 2 long snakes, 4 coiled snakes. So for this, I'm just going to crack out the polymer clay. I'm going to quickly sculpt them. They're going to be rough and ready, because actually in the movie they're a little bit rough and ready as well. They're not hugely detailed, but they just give the impression of what you want. I think the most detailed part of this is going to be the eye. And then, I've got bits of glitter on me and sequins. I need to sew some lace on a shirt for Andrew around the cuffs and collar, and add some talcum powder to his jacket and trousers. His trousers have already been cut up, so they're more like breeches. He's got long socks. We're all sorted. I think we're ready to go. So hopefully next time you see me, it will be the transformation from this into hopefully a glamorous Winifred Sanderson. But yeah, I need to get cracking on getting book finished, and we'll see you at the finish line. Hi guys, so it's several hours later now. You can see I finally got my nails on. I had to stick them on in the car on the way to the party that we were going to. My makeup is cracking and peeling because it's currently nearly 2 o'clock in the morning. It's slightly come undone, but actually the costume itself has held up amazingly. It was a real hit at the party as well. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. I've really enjoyed the process of making the costume as well. I'll straighten myself up. Really enjoyed the process of making the costume as well. And my jewellery, loved the jewellery and the nails. It's been a fabulous experience. This now will go into a box somewhere until I next need to dress as Winifred, which I'm sure, you know, when is not a good time to dress as Winifred? Well, I suppose you're doing something like jewelry too. But I really enjoy myself. I see myself making more costumes. In fact, I've signed up to do a costume class next week as well to get some extra hints and tips. But yeah, this is it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is what it was all for. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. As always, I will see you next time. Goodbye.